Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is CJ Jones, aka Mr. TNTBS, and this is Elephant Exposed. And today we do have my main man, my guy that holds me down, Mr. Duane Stinson, my co-host. Welcome again, my brother. How are you?
Good, my brothers. Been a while. Been a while. Good to be in the room.
Yeah, I understand. Hey, listen, we know we're kind of pressed for time, but today I just wanted to uh have a little classroom setting, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So today is not going to be a reactionary video, but today I just want to educate our viewers, for the ones that are not really sure about the differences between being arrested and being detained, and what are some things to keep in mind and things like that. So just let me go ahead and reach into my files one more time, and we're gonna get this party started. I really do. It is my hope that whenever we do uh things like this, that people walk away feeling a little bit more empowered, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. And go ahead and make this a little larger. And even though this is a slide, I had to put it in as a video because it wouldn't show otherwise. But I will try to be kind of quick on the pause button in between the slides, okay? So the title of this guys is the difference between an arrest and being detained, okay? So here we go. Okay. So the first thing, let me go ahead and bring us on up in here. Okay. So the first thing that we have is the actual definition of what is an arrest. And so just reading it out loud, okay? An arrest is an event that occurs when a person has, or it should say an officer has probable cause. I'm sorry, this is the person themselves. I'm sorry, the actual would be criminal has a is probable cause of committing or is about to commit an illegal crime. Okay, so that's the actual what an arrest is, or the purpose behind of an arrest. Probable cause, it within itself, guys, is basically, in layman's term, a very common sense, or I shouldn't say common sense, but um it's a very sensible way of looking at a situation that any average Joe, be it male or female, regardless of your background or anything like that, say, hey, something is going on, something is wrong. That person looked like they uh have committed a crime, or they told you they was going to commit a crime, or they are in the middle of committing a crime. Okay, so we'll keep the slide moving. Any questions right there, or did I cover that pretty good?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And let me know if I go too fast as well. D, keep me in check with that.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. I'll give you my
yeah,
input.
right. Okay, my bro. Thank you so much for that. Okay, another definition here of being detained. To be detained is an event that occurs when one is suspected with reasonable belief. That is the key, to have for that person to have committed an illegal crime. I don't know why they say illegal crime, because that's what crime is. A crime is illegal. That's kind of funny.
Right.
But
Right.
I just noticed, I'm like, it's kind of hard.
I
That's
be
like
doing
saying
them
crime,
legal. I be
crime
doing
or
them legal
illegal,
crimes.
legal.
That's what I
So,
do. I do legal crimes. That's it.
yeah, exactly. I just caught that. Mm.
And
And that's what you hear, my brother.
I think this one is the gray area. This the
Uh-huh.
one, this the one where you got so many. Why am I being detained? Or why am I, people feel, and it says because of a reasonable belief. That's just like I was afraid. That's why I shot. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So it's so when you say reasonable belief, it leaves it up to the officer almost. It's almost like I don't have to give you a concrete, it's I feel like you did something. You're not under arrest, you're just being detained. I see that all the time.
yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna sit back and let you just teach class because that's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
To the letter. And this is why it is very, very important for our peoples to truly take it down a notch. I know, trust me, I've been on both sides of the
Mm-hmm.
badge. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have been the officer and I have been arrested. So
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's like to be the one to even place people in handcuffs as well as to be placed in handcuffs in real life situations. But the thing about it is, what I want to share with our listeners and our viewers today is the handcuffs themselves is just a safety measure. It's just a safety measure. And it's like, in a sense, let's try to switch our mindsets in a sense of most cars don't even operate without you putting on your seatbelt anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Back whenever I was coming through learning how to drive, seat belts was actually optional.
Right. Oh yeah, I remember that.
So again, so we're not gonna be. This is not a thing of that we're trying to beat up police officers and be like, oh, we ain't trying to pull nobody's punk cards and stuff like that. Oh, it's a scary police officer.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you, they are trying to be safe. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times, we kind of take away the human factor when it comes to police officers. Why? Because of this very disdained and tainted relationship that
Mm-hmm.
these horrible, biased, racist police officers have with black people and people of color. But the changes have to be made somewhere. So let's start with us. Change starts with the person themselves. So let's try to find ourselves being on the side of right. Okay. And we have a better chance of surviving. And then we can come back and address these civil issues. But let's not give them those officers any reason to take away our lives. Okay. So let's sit back.
Let me interject
Yes.
here for a
Yes, sir.
minute, and it's sad that a lot of people have gotten killed not being arrested, they was being detained
Mm-hmm.
because they was wilding while they was being detained. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if they would have just chilled out a little bit, they would have known that they didn't have a case against them. They wasn't gonna get arrested. They wasn't gonna get no time. They probably was gonna get a citation and go on their way. But on the flip side of that, that tainted relationship that's been developed, man, that's a hard one. If you get pulled over in Bucko Farm, Alabama, somewhere
Right.
at nighttime, and
Right.
that officer tell you to get on your knees and put your hands behind your back. I'm sorry, it's almost like your survival instincts kick in. It's
Kicks
like
in.
I'm a
It
man,
does.
that's a man, and then I see a lot of them too. Man, why am I being arrested? Why am I why I gotta be in handcuffs? And I know what you're saying, and I know what the officers are saying. But
Yeah.
that's why when a relationship has been tainted or a relationship has been altered in a bad way,
Yeah.
That's a sticky situation
Tell it,
because
bro. Yeah, it
you
is.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you might have ran into the cop that really ain't like that. He just like, man, bro, just chill out. But
Yeah.
you seen so much on social media and
Mm-hmm.
heard from your homeboys and this, that, and the other. And so it's almost like in relationships when you treat all women like that girl that broke your heart. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You
It,
might have messed up with a good one because you like, so it's sort of similar as far as actions, but it's very different because you can lose your life, you know.
absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Like I said, bro. I mean, that's excellent. And I'm just gonna move on from there. I couldn't have said it any better. Like sometimes you just have to take that chance. That's just like I can tell you from the police officer side. Some of them are scary, and some
Mm-hmm.
of them do go by this understood attitude or this tone of they would rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6 is this
Mm-hmm.
phrase that they like to use. And if you're not familiar with that term, guys, it means that you would rather be tried by 12 people of 12 uh, jurors than carried out by 6 pallbearers. And just like how you, as the person that's being pulled over or being stopped or held up by the police, you're making that life decision as well. So basically, everybody is on edge.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is scared and scary. And
Mm-hmm.
so somebody, at least one of the bodies, have to be try to be focused. Now, you would think, and or in the land of should and should nots, you would
Mm-hmm.
think that it would be the so-called professional, aka the officer, but 9 times out of 10 it's not. And we
Mm-hmm.
have to be all the cool and the calm for these officers. So let's
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and continue.
And I say this is such a meaty topic that I'd rather we do a part two than to rush it, if that's okay with you. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Uh-huh.
Because I would also say that it's also the
Oh
body
yeah.
language of how you being detained. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
if somebody just gently put you in handcuffs, a lot of times you more you know you more readily complying, and if
Right.
they, what I'm saying, if they using all the things that I'm sure y'all taught in the force, you taught how to de-escalate, you taught how to talk, hey partner, hey, you taught how to talk them through it.
Right.
But so many times you see guys, the stereotypical,
Just
sometimes big,
highly aggressive.
beefy, yeah, just a meathead with the shades on, and he bigger than you, and he got the belt on, and it's like he don't have to answer your questions at all, but he wants you to answer all his questions. But you
Mhm.
asking him, sir, and a lot of times I say, sir, because a lot of times we talk that stuff, but when they get pulled over, it's sir, sir, why am I being, hey, sir, why sir, these too tight, sir, why you hurt my arm, sir? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Mhm.
it's just like, if you could just put me in handcuffs, set me down, talk me through the process, I can feel
Mhm.
more at ease.
Yeah.
But it's too many times where I see officers that feel like they're the judge and jury, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, this is
Mhm.
gonna happen regardless. And I've
Yeah.
seen them like, this can happen the easy way, or this can
Or
happen
hard
the
way.
hard way, you
Yeah.
know.
That whole Judge Dredd type approach, bro. I'm telling you, it back in the day before technology, before the witness of the camera, aka the big brother, that's how they handled us. Um,
Mm-hmm.
especially us. But now, you know, Big Brother, when it comes to the eyes of the public, is unbiased, and it will and it shows the truth. And now we have high definition and everything else and stereo sound. So um it ain't but so many ways that these officers are going to hide. So either they're either going to basically it's filtering time. We need to eradicate these officers, and I don't care if you have to get rid of a whole department, like how it's already been done before in at least 2 departments that I know of, had to be
Mm-hmm.
totally and completely revamped. If that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. So one of the questions that I hear commonly, um, and this actually came from uh, somebody that was round about my son's age. He's in his early 20s, and the question came up: is handcuffing necessary for arrest and detainment? And so here's my thing. Here's my thing on that, guys. I don't know if I had put it in the slide or not, but yeah, here we go. So this is the quick skinny of it. Is what we would say. Yes, the answer is yes. Always, whenever anyone is being arrested, and especially if a violent crime was committed. So that's kind of like common sense in that area. Okay. So but yes, because like how I kind of like started out the show, um handcuffs are it once you are in handcuffs, it's supposed to, and this is the part that really do confuse me with some officers out here. You have that individual handcuff, so I mean, unless they're going to pull a Houdini, or they are a Furion, like Vin Diesel character was in Pitch Black or something like that, and you can do some type of quick sleight of hand or something. That person ain't coming out of handcuffs, you know. And so
And this is where
you can
this is
back
where
off all of that aggression. Yeah.
right. This is where preconceived notions and prejudices and stereotypes come into play on
Mhm.
both sides. Because if you're not coming into this situation of getting detained or arrested with a prejudged opinion of who's doing it, then you're
Mhm.
gonna just comply and say, "Man, I gotta get home. Let me just go ahead and do this." But see, too many times, just like they have prejudice against us, and they see some of them, I'm not saying all of them, but some of them see us and they see exactly what, the propaganda and what the media have been feeding them. So they already have, okay, they're aggressive. Oh, that's a big guy. Or he looked angry. Oh man, he got dreadlocks, all of this stuff. And so he's gonna respond a little differently, just like if you get pulled over by the cop and you already have in your mind, oh, here we go, these crooked cops. Of
Mhm.
course, you're gonna respond differently. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Because it's just like how I would train my junior officers. If you go in preloaded, you've already setting the tone for how that situation is going to turn out, because in your mind everybody is bad, everybody is this way, everybody is that way. And
Mm-hmm.
so what I try to whenever I would train my junior officers is, I would say, in a sense of, be ready for anything, but in the sense, our job is to give everybody and anybody the benefit of the doubt, but never drop your guard completely. In
Mm-hmm.
other words, there's plenty of situations that could either escalate into different things, or it can just be just what it was, which was either a tag being expired, a speeding violation, whatever that cause was for the initial contact. And it can stay that way. Um, or when you go to run someone's background check and you come to find out, yeah, they have a warrant. A warrant does not mean violent criminal.
Right.
Okay, it does not mean violent criminal. um I've known for people to have what they call bench warrants. In other words, you just didn't show up to court,
Mm-hmm.
and now you have to be accounted for, because the magistrate or that judge has says, hey, if this person happens to be out and about, and a police officer happens to run their number against the system, we want for that person to know that they are being served properly for whatever they need to be. And 9 times out of 10, it's probably just that person just didn't either want to, or decided not to, show up for a court appearance or whatever for whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So but
So
it's
let me ask you a question.
uh-huh.
So many times I see people get detained and and then they run them, then they're like, okay, you got a warrant, like you said, a bench warrant. Sometimes it's even worse warrants. And then to a person like me, just a civilian, I'm like, why is this person out and free and they got all these warrants? So they don't aggressively uh pursue people for warrants. Like they don't knock on the door, or does it have to be a certain level of like a felony for them to really come out and try to and get you
Oh
for
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Well, I know,
Oh
but I'm
yeah.
just saying, say for instance,
Yeah.
it's like so warrants like you didn't pay this or you was like smaller misdemeanor warrants, they won't come looking for you. They just get you when they pull you over. That's
We'll,
pretty much it.
we'll get you if you happen to flag the system. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what are you talking about? It's like America Most Wanted type stuff. Yeah, those are like your high felonies, your serious
Right.
violent crimes and stuff like that. Yeah, that's when you get your manhunts, your marshals get after you, stuff like that. Escape convicts. Yeah, now
Mm-hmm.
those are the ones that we are actively trying to get.
Mm-hmm. And
But yeah,
bounty hunters, like bounty
right
hunters,
there
like
you go. And again, bounty hunters like that's their world. Like they live for that. That's why they're in the business. They're in the
mm-hmm.
business because it is so many people out there and they have multiple warrants on them, and more than likely it's because they were in violation of a court order.
So do bounty hunters have the same power that the police have?
Arresting powers, yes.
Okay.
Arresting powers.
Okay.
And so as long as they are acting under the jurisdiction of whatever that warrant says that judge signed off on,
Mm-hmm.
they have the powers of an actual municipal police officer because they are in the line of their duties. That is correct. So
Okay.
just like this slide is saying, the guys, even though you may see officers vary and using their own discretion when it comes to detainment, it is still highly encouraged for them to use handcuffs to ensure the safety of themselves and of other officers. So that is the black and white definition encouragement of that. So again, like how Duane is saying, you'll see some officers will they'll handcuff everybody and anybody. And to me, I call that error on the side of caution, because the idea is that officer wants to go home just like how you do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we're not excluding the a-holes out there. Okay. So we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about the average everyday, citizen that goes to work like you and me and just out there to do their job. We're not talking about the biased and racial officer just yet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So according to police academy training, I'll say it like that, their basic training, um, handcuffs are highly encouraged, and it's just to ensure the safety of not only the officers, I would say everybody, even when it comes to narrating, um, and things like that. But that's on the police officer side, okay? So anyway, let's move on.
And like you say, the handcuffs do seem to de-escalate a lot. You very rarely see somebody get the crap beat out of them if they just handcuff. Now, what happened to George Floyd? That was an exception, and I think that's why the nation was
And that
so
was right.
outraged.
And that
Because
clearly, yeah, and the reason what made that an exception was the relationship that was already there between George and I forgot his name right now, but
the one because they used to work
right,
together,
because
right?
that was like a continue, that was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Mm.
He had been after George and everything like that for a long time, and that's how that unfolded. But again,
Mm-hmm.
this is just basically a, in layman's terms today, um lesson is basically, think about it almost like a survival's handbook, so to speak.
Mhm.
I want for my people to be able to know the difference between when they are being arrested and when they're being detained, and that way you have your own sense of peace and your own sense of calm. And that's why, so we want to ping on some mental notes here. Okay, so let's go over some mental notes. All right, first thing that we want to put in our little toolbox here is knowing the difference between what a person or persons is being suspected of versus physical proof of a crime that has, is, or will be committed. Okay, and again, that's knowing the difference between what how did that stage even get set? Is this a stage, is this a situation that a person can be arrested, or are they being suspected of something, and they're just being detained?
And
Okay.
let me ask you this:
Mhm.
does the officer have to tell you why he's detaining you or arresting you?
Yes. Yes, and I was about to get to that. Some officers, they try to stretch it and act like that they don't want to tell you, they don't have to tell you. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Mm.
Because if that's the case, then anybody can just walk up to you and be like, "Hey, I'm putting you under." No, no, you're not. You
Mm-hmm.
have to have uh probable cause for an arrest, and you have to have a reasonable suspicion just to detain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there's a little key point that I got in my slide that's gonna break that down to as well. Let's keep it going. So, mental note, it's timing, y'all. It's all about the timing. This information is very factual. You can Google it, you can research it. And every time it'll always go back to this right here. It's all about timing too. Okay. Go ahead and read that out loud, Mr. Duane.
The U.S. United States Supreme Court states 20 minutes is a reasonable time for a person to be questioned while being detained.
Did everybody get that? Did everybody get that? 4, it is on that officer to be running a risk, okay, of placing you under false arrest or false imprisonment. Okay.
Mm.
It's all the same thing. We just, there's a civilian way of saying it and there's a military way of saying it. But anyway, if there is an extended amount of time, and another thing too, let me go ahead and break this down. You don't even necessarily have to even be in handcuffs to even feel like that you are being arrested, because just off the time alone, as long as you don't feel like you have the freedom to walk away or move, you have not been charged with any crime officially that this officer has said to you, or any of those things. You could or you may have a civil case to bring against that police officer to say that you was falsely imprisoned, and
Mm.
this would can kind of back that up. Okay, again, these are mental notes for you to remember.
It's almost along the lines of kidnapping. A lot of times people don't understand that if you make somebody forcibly move from one place to the other, that's kidnapping.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't have to be, how people see kidnapping, like,
Like
oh,
on
they,
TV.
they threw you in a van and they put
Right.
you in a dark room. No, it's
Mm-hmm.
the same principle. Imprisonment, people say, well, no, I wasn't in prison. But if you felt like you was confined and you can't move, you know what I'm saying, you wasn't free to go, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I guess that's what you're saying. That's really imprisonment, right?
Exactly. So it's about time. It's about freedom of movement. While being detained, your freedom is momentarily Restricted. Okay, it may be momentarily restricted. All right. So, but the key word is momentarily restricted. The other big one is identification. People love to give officers a big deal about identification. Guys, make your day easy. Please make your day easy.
Right.
It I know, especially when we listen to like the bigger platforms, identification is like freedom paper, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. No, I get that. I've even said that sometimes. But truth be told, guys, you know, I want for my people to live. I want you to survive. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're being detained, you may keep your identification, okay, information private while you're being questioned. Cause it's that's like me coming up to you being like, hey, you got some ID? Well, no, why? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
But please be aware that some states will require you to produce an ID when you are asked by law enforcement. So don't see, we are in North Carolina. So
Mm-hmm.
there is no such thing as what they did upstate, like the whole stop and frisk thing, and let me see your ID and everything like that. So I would highly encourage you to know what your state says about policies and about things like that. And before you start trying to, you know, live your life dangerously, guys, just be compliant, stay cool, and get out of this thing alive, okay? Then we can always go back and take people to civil court again. So another thing is while being arrested occurs when all liberties or the difference of knowing between um being detained and being arrested, okay? It's when they're gonna take away all your liberty and all your freedom of movement, okay? And it's
And
done by
let,
the
let me let
police.
me let me let me go take a brief just step back to that last one.
Uh-huh.
When you don't produce your ID, you've taken a smooth selling. That officer might have been having a good day.
Mm-hmm.
You was having a good day. Now he's like, why this dude don't want to show me his ID? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I can imagine that would turn the whole situation until now it's awkward. Now we got tension. Now we got things that's not necessary. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Right.
because I'm going to produce my ID every time because I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get this over
Yeah.
with. And then you see so many times where the situation just drag on and on. Can I get your off? Can I get your superior? Can I get your supervisor? You've been sitting here 3 hours when you
Mm-hmm.
could, you know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
could have just gave him your ID and got your ticket or got your warning or whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there.
All right. Well, we're running out of time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to fast forward this a little bit because I like I said, I just don't want to leave our viewers hanging. Okay. So yeah, okay. So we did make it through the slide. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the share. And again, this is I hope that this has been beneficial to our viewers out here and to know the difference between um an arresting situation versus a detainment. And not all situations require us to sit up there and want to like, bug and throw what little bit of law that we do know or we researched or whatever. The main thing that I would encourage all of my viewers is that whenever we are being questioned and stuff, is just remain cool and calm. And if an officer is making a mistake, if he's too aggressive, he or she is too aggressive, too assertive, or being biased or whatever the case may be, call them out on their BS. I encourage that. That's why there is a desk sergeant and stuff like that. And record. Okay. I'd rather for you to be up and standing on two legs and walking around and getting them the right way than for us to be marching and praying for your families and everything else because you wanted to stand your ground and now you're no longer with us. Okay.
That's very important.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you wanted to share with the people today before we go ahead and wrap it up?
Oh no, a very informative, very, very needed show, because I know me myself, I learned some stuff just that I didn't know, you know. And it's best to be informed about something before you're put into the fire about it. You know what I'm saying?
I
You know,
appreciate it.
before you're into it. Now you just going off emotions. You don't have information. You're going off emotions. Oh, I had a bad day. Oh, this big prejudiced looking white dude. So you know what I'm saying? So
Yes, sir.
now people got the facts about, arrest and detainment. So that's great.
All right. With that being said, guys, we'll catch y'all later. Y'all be good, okay?
Peace. Yeah, Tevion.